Hello Makale, welcome back to day 3 of Path to Expert video series. For people who are new here, don't forget to follow me and also check my previous videos so you are more in context. Last 2 days we saw how to make the website more presentable while sharing. From today, we'll start seeing how to make the website more presentable for the bots like Google bot and all the other search engines. Before we actually get into details, we should be very clear on how Google search works first. So let's get started. So Google search has three major parts. One is crawl, second is indexing, third is serving. Let's see what they are in detail. If you see, the web is a very distributed environment, and there is no way for Google or other search engines to know if there is a new page added. That's why all the search engines have a bot. We'll be seeing more detailed about Google search. So the bot we are going to see about is Google bot. What it will do is it will crawl through all the pages. There are many ways how Google will know there is a new web page on the internet. One, you can tell Google through few of its tools or through your sitemap. Two, Google will know by the backlinks. That is, your new web page may be linked with a already existing web page, or an already existing web page may point to the new web page. And does Google crawl all the pages on the internet? Nope. You can restrict Google from crawling few pages using a meta tag, which we'll be seeing, and Google can crawl only through public pages. That is, Google bot acts as an anonymous user and crawls over all the pages that is accessible. It doesn't get into the logged in state. And this crawling is done very frequently by Google on all the web pages. Of course, it excludes few web pages if it finds duplicate content and group them together. And when Google actually crawls, it collects all the contents or all the information about a particular web page. And believe me, even the structure of your URLs and titles play a major role in making Google crawl your web page better. Okay, now Google has completed crawling through all the pages of your website, and it has a raw content. The next step is to process the content which is crawled by Google, right? That's where indexing comes into picture. Crawling just collects all the information about a web page. It doesn't do anything with the data actually. It just goes through all the possible web pages and collects the possible data. Indexing is the place where the actual magic happens. Google consumes the text, images and videos, processes them, and then also finds the duplicates and group them as canonical. What is canonical documents? That is nothing but, say you can have a mobile web page and a desktop web page. Both might give you the same data. Google crawls through both the pages, group them as canonical web page, and puts it under a single document. A document is a collection of canonical web pages. It can be multiple pages, and it has a canonical URL. Why do we need this canonical URL? When Google crawls the web page again, it doesn't crawl through all the other pages, but crawls only through the canonical URL often. It crawls to other web pages very rarely. But based on the device or the user or the location, that particular separate URL is served, not always the canonical URL. For example, your mobile URL can be your canonical URL for collection of URLs, but if you browse from a desktop, it crawls through the desktop URL. So the meta tag no index comes into play in this stage. Of course, Google when crawling doesn't process the data, so it takes the pages which it doesn't have to index as well. But during indexing, if it finds the no index meta tag, it doesn't process the data anymore and just leaves the file without indexing. So now Google crawled over the web pages, collected the data, indexed it, that is processed it, got information about it, found duplicates, and then grouped it in canonical order as a document, and creates a canonical URL for all the documents, and also ignores the files which has no index meta tag. So all the pieces of collecting data is done. The next part is serving data. When a user searches for a particular term, based on the indexing of the documents and the web pages, Google chooses the best web pages that has to be served. And there are multiple factors which affects it, like location, the speed of your website, the mobile friendliness. If it's an AMP, it gets even more prioritization. Likewise, there are multiple factors which affects the ranking of the website. And when a user searches for something, Google serves the web pages based on the rankings based on so many factors as well. For instance, if your web page have a search result feature, your web page will be always indexed more or ranked more. This is the process how Google search works behind the screen. As usual, let's consider a very simple web page. Say if you don't want this particular website to be indexed by Google, all you need to do is add a meta tag. What this meta tag tells is, if you are a robot, don't index this page. This is for all the robots, possibly, like by different search engines. But if you just want to restrict Google, then you can change this name from robots to Googlebot. Now, other search engines can index this page, but Google can't. Now we saw how basic search in Google works. In the coming days, we'll be seeing more about how to optimize our website technically using code for better Google search. That's it for the day. There'll be no videos on Sundays. See you all on Monday and have a great weekend, Makale.